try to stay here, you're going to kill time. So you want to let your body just kind of come out of this turn, because you'll be building speed from here on up. Let your body let it go. Just you'll probably wind up here. On this 300, depending on the skater, you still don't want to skate low. It's kind of you kind of skate in the middle, somewhere in the middle vicinity, and that's give or take. You could be a little higher, you could be a little lower to keep your track. Now, like Kelly was saying, the high track is actually the fastest because you have a hump. There's a hump up here that you use, and that's what happens on the start here. When you come up out of here, you use a little bit of that hump to get you going up here. But there's a bigger hump at the top that a lot of skaters use from the top. It will wing you down. But you have to find, basically when you go out there, with that one day you go out there, to experiment where you feel most comfortable, whether it be coming out here, going a little bit lower, a little bit higher, where you want to maybe over here, a little bit on the inside. But you want to keep your speed. You want to keep your speed coming out. Like I said here, you don't want to fight it. You do not want to fight it. You want to just skate, let your body go where it's going to go, and then just keep pumping up the floor. You can come high up here, midway, or if you come really high, if you're really, say like Michael Cheeks has long legs and he's strong, or Keith Turner who's fast, and guys, they could use the hump. They could use this hump to their advantage. In the old days in quads, they more or less use that more than they do now. So that's basically the 300. The 300 also, there's a beam that starts your race. You actually have another line back here, and we'll talk about the starts against later, the two starts. But you have a beam that starts. If you start that beam and you're not ready to go, your time is still going. If you step across it and you hesitate to go back, you've already started your time. So you have to watch. I think the beam is what, Kelly? 8 inches high. Okay, so that's something you learn out there also, about the beam, how it is, and then how you want to step across it, and make sure that when you come off your start, that you're excelling and exploding out of there. Does anybody have anything else, Johnny, you want to add to this? Jeff, you want to add to this 300 meter? Kelly?
What? You guys understand, we were talking about skating as the beam, setting off the beam. Do you guys understand also that this 300 is one of the only races that you do by yourself? Okay? You're going to be skating against the clock. So when he's saying you hit the beam and it starts your time, we're talking about that because you are skating against yourself. You're just skating against the clock, skating by yourself. Which again is going to lead to the lines that we're talking about on here. You're going to skate this thing on the fastest line for you, but at the same time, when we go to the other races, you're going to have to learn the other lines also, because if somebody's in your fastest line, you have to go to another line to pass them. You need to know how to work those other lines. The other thing that I want to reiterate that Buggy mentioned, when he's talking about the start, when you come through the corner, this part of the hill right here being banked, you're coming out of your first corner, you're not at full speed yet. Okay? Some of the biggest mistakes that we see people make in the 300 meter is not allowing their body just to dictate, their momentum dictate where they go. They try to steer their start. Well, I'm going to be up there on the bank, but they're not going fast enough. So they end up skating up the hill really hard and slowing down. And you mentioned, let your momentum carry you up the bank where it's going to carry you. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to steer it and make some line that you're not fast enough to get on. The other mistake we see people make, especially the little ones, okay? Our little ones will watch the big guys skate, okay? They'll watch Michael Cheek and they'll say, okay, Michael Cheek went there on the bank. Well, he may be huge and dramatically faster, and he can skate up higher on the bank, whereas the little guys are going to come out a little bit closer to the red line. Doesn't mean they're going to be all the way on the red line. Depending upon how fast they go, they're still going to come up a little bit. But everybody is going to skate a different line coming through that first corner. Jeff?
Yes. He's on the phone. Talking to the mothership.
Uh-oh. Anything else? Where'd Keith go?
He's on the phone
Right
too.
behind you.
He's talking to Jeff. First move.
What's that?
First move from start.
Yes, that's a good point. We're going to talk a lot this morning about the 300 meter starts. It's going to be the most uncomfortable thing that you guys have ever done. And the whole time we're doing it, you're going to be complaining, telling us you don't know how to do it. I would say until you've done about 1,000 of them, you're probably not going to feel like you know how to do it. It's the most uncomfortable start in the world. But since you're starting against the clock, you need to create as much momentum as you can before you leave the line. That's why this start has been devised. We're going to show you the start that's been used most commonly, the 300-meter start. We're also going to show you how some people do start sideways. I guess it comes down to personal preference. My feeling, I've always felt the 300-meter start has been faster than the sideways start, but some people end up stumbling so much, it honestly is just better just to do a sideways start for some people. But we are going to have everybody learn how to do the regular 300-meter start here at the clinic. Okay. Questions so far on the track, on the 300 meters?
Person, 99% of the time, the person fastest the first 100 meters will win the 300 meters. That's why when you go at the outdoor nationals, they always have a split time for the first 100 meters and then do the following 200 meters. So that's why the start is so critical, and you need to practice it on a daily basis. Also, the 300 meter sets up all your heats for the remainder of the heated races, the 500, I think the 1,000. So if you even don't have a good 300 meter, you need to try it, because if you just don't skate it, you'll be in the hardest heats throughout outdoor nationals. You just don't skate it. So a lot of people tend to say, oh, I'm not good at 300, so I'm not going to skate it. And then they get their heats and they're in the hardest heat. That's because they didn't make an attempt, because all the other heats are determined by that race. So the person, theoretically, that wins the 300 meter usually has the easiest, one of the easiest heats. If you don't skate, you put in a hard heat. So you'll really be wasting your money if you skate.
That's what we're talking about, but I'll just show you how it works. Let's just use 4 heats for an example. This is how they serpentine 4 heats. You get first place in the first heat, second, third, and fourth. So if they're doing 4 heats, 5th place goes in the same heat as 4th place, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So if you won the 300 meter, the next fastest skater in your heat took 8th. Okay? See how important it is to win that? The next fastest skater is 9th. Okay? Heat 4, the guy that took 4th in the 300 has the guy that took 5th in the 300 in his heat. So he's got a lot more competition. And this works all the way down until they fill the heats. That works that way for the 500, the 1,000, all of those races. Your 300 is very, very important to you for that reason. I've had skaters, when I coached Norman Kirby, he never wanted to do a 300. So he wouldn't. He got tossed into some horrible heats. Because when you don't do the 300 at all, they just automatically place you as dead last, and you get heated that way. Other mistakes that I see made in the 300. When you come out of the corners, you want to take as direct line as you can from leaving the corner to going into the next corner. I can't count how many times you see somebody come out of the corner, then they skate down to the red line, and then they're like, oh, I want to go in up at the top of the bank. Then they skate back out to the top of the bank. That's a lot of extra ground to cover, and it takes a long time to do it. There are times in these 300-meter races where the first 5 placements will all be within 1/10 of a second of each other. Skating one straightaway from the top to the bottom and back to the top again can make the difference between first and 10th. It's a huge difference. I think the next thing we'll do is kind of walk through the 300-meter starts. I'll have a couple people come up and demonstrate them up here. Then everybody can get up. We'll demonstrate them, or we'll walk through them on our feet. After we kind of walk through them on our feet, I think we put some skates on. We'll start talking about some of the pack things that are going to happen. I'll put some pylons out. We'll do some drop back drills with more than one pack. Another thing that people that just skate inside are not really too familiar with what it's like to have 2, 3, and 4 lines side by side, and they still have to step and skate. Okay? We're going to talk about the safe ways to step and skate. It's very important to stay in step with your line, plus with the other lines that are next to you. if you're taking a right-hand step, while the line next to you is taking the left-hand step, somebody's gonna get kicked, somebody's gonna fall. Okay, so we're gonna teach you how to stay in step in multiple lines. We're gonna teach you how to move back and forth between the lines. That'll be kind of the next thing on the agenda. Okay, so let's get Heather.
Oh, you're gonna get the chairs off?
Yeah, we'll move the chairs. Well, you can watch this first and we'll try them out after you watch a couple. You wanna do the steps, Mike? You wanna do the steps while she does them? No, she can do a 300. Talk about a 300 start. I'm sorry.
Okay, the starter, like I said earlier, you have two lines that you would stand in, one is like a box kind of a line, you know, you stand 1 foot in and 1 foot would be behind it. Now, I don't know, John, left, what do you say, left foot or right
Well,
foot?
some people, they see someone who does it the opposite hand,
Right.
they think they're supposed to start that way. Like I seen last kids out right hand start like their left hand, but that's the way they were taught. So,
You will find, it's just like indoor starting. When you go out there, you're gonna have to try both ways. Whether you start with your left foot forward or you start with your right foot forward, which is gonna be more efficient for you to explode off the line. What they will do is they will come up and that the beam is like 8 inches up and they will give you a command of attention. And that gives you time to get ready for the race, time for you to get set up. They normally, I don't know what the time is, but they give you
I think it's 20 seconds.
20 seconds, around 20 seconds or so. They give you a good amount of time. But in the past, a lot of times, guys would just keep playing around, take longer and longer and longer, and start to go. And so they kind of give you a time about approximately 20 seconds, which, once you get up there, is a long time. Okay? When you come up, if you're doing the front start, if the line is here, you want to be back a little bit of the line, have your right or left foot on a 45 degree so that you can explode off it. And what we do, I teach us that we get kind of almost in a T. I haven't done this for a while, so I have to think about how I'm doing that. Kind of like my right foot is facing also out on a 45 degree. Get feeling comfortable, get in a crouch position, okay? Now I teach, some people teach arms back, I teach this, going forward. We put our right or left foot back. We lean back here, depending on the person. You want this leg to be fairly straight, your weight is on here, okay? One of the things I say is when you're young and all like that, think about yourself being on a swing. You stay there a second. It's the fact that you're on a swing and all of a sudden the swing's coming up in the air and you're up. Now, the swing is going to come back down, so now you're going to rock forward. Now you're going to be putting your weight shifting up to your right or left foot, bending, come down, and exploding forward. Like Jeff had said, your first motion must be forward. If this foot rocks, if you turn this foot forward and you rock across the line on the beam, you start at the beam. Okay? You start at the beam. So this foot, you want to make sure that you have weight on the heel to keep it stable. So when you get in this crouch position and you're back, and again, like I said, if you can put yourself when you were young on a swing that you come down and explode forward with your foot, same thing, 45 degree bend. Okay? So you want to try that sometimes? Now she does the opposite foot, like John was saying, so everybody is different. And also, people have different terms. I don't know if you say it differently than I do. I know Joe Cotter does.
Yeah, I'll let a couple people go through their starts and you'll hear a couple different coaches teach in a couple different ways. Like I said, I want you to hear everybody's verbiage and the way everybody describes these things, and everybody will have somebody that makes sense.
One of the main things that you want to get away from, and we haven't seen to have a problem at the clinics, is when the kids get out there, they're not taking their time, they're rushing, and they just come like this, or they turn their shoulder, and they never really bend when they come forward, they just kind of step forward. Well, it's like anything, if you don't bend at the knees, you don't get as much spring. And the idea